Perfect. Thank you, Adrian. Well, hey, everybody. Welcome to our daily edition of today's Sales Dojo. We actually have some new faces here joining us. So we have Mike over here, and we have Marin as well. These are their first full days, so they're kind of getting thrown in here into exactly what we do. And really, today, it's going to be a little bit more philosophical sales side of why we do certain things. And so what we're actually going to do, we're going to use some real live examples from some calls from this week. So we have Penny, who we're going to go over kind of her, I don't want to say objections, but just what happens in the call. Kim as well had a really good example with somebody who was helping their ex-spouse. And then Christine is going to be joining us here too for a lady we helped yesterday that we didn't know was on Medicaid. So today's theme for you guys, we're going to do a lot of whiteboard stuff. So get ready here. Okay. Let me move this here too. Okay, so do not judge me because this was from a social media influencer. So this is not some big philosophical thing, but this is exactly what we're talking about when we were talking about sales today. You only lose control when you don't have control. And that's what we've really been noticing here lately is with a lot of the stuff going on, when we're not controlling a conversation, you lose any type of momentum that you have in the sale. And you can't gain it back. That's something that a lot of people struggle with, that a lot of people you just learn as you go along. But this is really going to be the essence of what we're talking about today. Hello, Christine. I was just going over our topic for today with this quote from a social media influencer, which I will not name, so I was a little ashamed of. But you only lose control when you don't take control. So let's start here with Miss Penny. Penny, why don't you give us a breakdown of the T65 gentleman that called in from a mailer and was looking for help? Give us a little backstory about him.
Well, his major concern was he hadn't worked in the last probably year or two and was living on savings and was worried he had maybe goofed himself up or messed up in some way with now he's turning 65 and he's ready to draw Social Security benefits. And he had no idea what any of his budget would be or anything like that. So his biggest concern was about Social Security and how much he would be getting.
Okay, so what I'm going to do here, just so we can kind of break it down for everybody, we're going to go through some different characteristics of the call, and we're going to go over what we can control, what we can't control, what we need to regain control in the conversation. So right now, all we know is he's T65. He said from the get-go, we have limited money. He's also a little confused, would you say?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Did you get into anything about his health history? Any questions about health?
Yes.
Okay. How was his health?
So he had, I did get a few of the medications.
Mm-hmm.
One of them, which was furosemide,
Okay.
and he wears compression socks. So I know that there's something going on with circulation or heart.
Okay.
Even when I asked him, hey, if he had any, health issues in the last 5 years, he said no, not that he knew of. But there's something either with circulation or heart based on the drugs and the compression socks.
Okay, so we have potential bad health.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Did he have any previous coverage?
No.
So he had no employer coverage, nothing like that before?
No.
Okay. So no. Any other type of things that came up in conversation that you would use to describe this interaction, describe this person?
Well, I would say that he was very fearful about what his situation he'd caused himself and what was going on. And sort of kept getting back to wanting to know if he'd messed himself up with Social Security Administration and how that was going to affect him going forward. Which the Social Security Administration can answer for him.
I have a question. Do you think was he scared because he wasn't sure if he had enough credits for A or just by not working?
No, I did ask him about that. I think that I would have to say that in talking with him, he may not have been as sharp as some people are about, or as savvy, I guess, as to what his health coverage would be, anything like that. But he was sort of all over the place.
Aloof.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
then he's got to start paying his Part B premium too, so he's
Right.
scared about money because now all of a sudden he's going to have this bill that he's
Right.
not used to having. Even though he's going to be getting Social Security income, there's still this bill.
Right.
He's not.
That's what he thought,
to.
which I was like, but you're going to be getting Social Security.
So you're going to be
That was
getting
extra.
income, but
Right.
they see that there's a bill. Now I have this extra bill.
Right. That's all he saw was his fear.
Mhm.
Okay, so now in the conversation, he kind of ran you around a lot.
Well, he just kept circling back around to something we already just talked about, and I would remind him of what we had said and stuff, and I'd say, so let me ask you this, and I'd ask him a new question and get him back reeled in, but it didn't last. I mean, we'd get a little farther,
And he would
then
always
he'd go,
revert back.
"Oh,"
So
yeah.
what that tells me, that for the sake of it, it's not a control issue, that's an explanation issue. That he's still concerned about one of these things on here.
Mhm.
Okay. But for him, he's probably a real A and B type guy. Like in order to go to B, he has to get A done. And that's something that you have to pick on. But if you know he's that type of person, you need to say, okay, we're going to address A. That's what we're going to start with. Once we address A, then we can go to B. But as long as he's in control, you could be trying to go from C to D, and he's going to jump back to A.
Right.
Because he's not fully clear yet on, okay, this is the idea. So this is what I want you guys to picture as you're on the call, as you're taking notes here. Can we control that? Well, can we control the situation when he's turning 65? Yes. Everybody? Yes. Thank you, class. Okay, so we can control that, right? We can. Can we control his budget?
No.
We can explain his budget.
Okay. Can we control how much money he makes?
No.
No.
Can we control if he is confused?
Yes.
Yes.
Right. Explanation. Yeah.
Yes? Okay. Can we control his health?
No.
Can we control that he's not coming off of coverage and he has no coverage currently?
No.
Okay. Can we control that he is scared?
Yes.
Okay. And can we address that he's kind of aloof about the situation, that he doesn't understand the severity of it?
Yeah.
Okay. So, out of all of this here, this is what you can talk about. That you actually can say, look, I can help you do this. So from this point here where he's talking about limited money, he's confused, he's, potential bad health, he's not coming from coverage, he's a little scared, he doesn't know what's going on. He needs somebody to say, come here, bud. Just put your arm around him, say, I'll be your gal, we got this. But we have to do it my way. So in our presentation, this was the first thing I asked you because Penny came to me and I was asking her the next morning, how'd it go? And she goes, well, he had a big issue with his budget. He didn't know how to budget. He didn't know how to do this. And I told Penny, and I go, did you do an A and B presentation? She goes, well, no, I didn't get to that. I go, okay. The last paragraph in the A and B presentation states that, and I might be verbatim here, and if you're anything like my other clients, they're also very restricted with their income and they like to work on a budget. So this would actually allow you to budget how much money you have for your medical expenses because all you have is a monthly premium and one-time deductible. So from the very beginning, if we know this guy is T65, we know he is confused, we know he's scared, what immediately do you jump to? What's that?
Hugging him.
Yes. Hugging him, yes. But Christine, I'll ask you here. So if you have a guy that's turning 65, he's calling you for help because he goes, I got something in the mail and I got a month to figure this stuff out and I haven't done anything.
Okay.
what is the first thing that you address?
I'm gonna just say, we got this, don't worry. We'll figure this out. And then I'm gonna ask what his previous coverage was.
Mhm.
And then make sure he's either applied for Social Security or get him through, not Social Security, Medicare.
Mhm.
Make sure he's either or, is he doing Social Security? If not, or you get him, make sure he's applied for Medicare.
Okay, that's
Make
good.
sure that's on there. Make sure he's getting his drug coverage also, because so we don't have any of those penalties that are going to come up.
Correct. So here's a pro move for everybody. Whenever I get somebody that is these 3 words right here, turning 65, scared, and confused. These people that you're going to talk to, a lot of them are going to be A and B, where you have to clearly walk them through the first step, ask them, do you have any questions about that? If you don't, we can move on, but I want to address it while we're still talking about it. Because if you don't, then it's going to come up later on. That's why in the way that the script works with closing scenarios and everything like that, there's no questions when you go to close. That's why we don't ask, does that sound good? Is that okay? Do you want to do that? I'm not pointing you out.
Oh, yeah.
Just because
No,
Or some fingers that way.
I had to get over that. Where, how's this sound? And now I'm like, okay, well, we're gonna do this right now. I'm signing you up. So, okay, here, you're gonna get this text, and this is gonna come, and this.
Does that sound good?
Right.
And so we've had to unlearn that.
Mhm.
Yeah, there's a lot of unlearning.
And we're gonna use that as an example when we talk about yours too. How the lady yesterday, we didn't ask her if she wanted dental coverage. We go, no, you need dental coverage. Here's your
Because I had talked to her. Well, we'll talk about that later.
exactly. But we just said, here's the plan that fits you. This is what you need. And she goes, perfect. I can't pay it right now. Don't worry. We'll put it on mail bill. We'll call them in 2 weeks. We'll get it taken care of. So for these people that are T65, confused, scared, the
That's all
very
of them.
first thing,
Yeah.
majority of them, very first thing I do, I make them get a piece of paper. It's not in the script. This is just something I do. If you're calling me saying, hey, I'm turning 65, I don't know what's going on, I haven't applied for Medicare, I need help. Don't worry, buddy. I got you. Okay, go grab a piece of paper. I'm going to give you this list here of what you need to get done. But that way you have it in paper. You have it in front of you. I'm going to send you an email reminder of all these things too. But that way you write it down and we can keep track and so it's like a checklist for them. So immediately I would go, okay, you're turning 65 November 1st. The very first thing you need to do, you need to apply for Medicare. You can do that on socialsecurity.gov. You can go to the office. It's probably going to take days for you to get in. You've got options to do that. That's, again, something we can't control. Mary.
Stupid question time.
Never stupid questions.
No.
We'll just laugh a little.
That's fine. I can even get up and dance.
No, none of that. None of that.
Okay, so a person turns 65.
Mhm.
Do they have to sign up for Medicare?
It depends. Penny, would you like to answer?
I would.
Okay.
Okay.
If they are on their employer plan and continuing to work, they do not have to sign up for A or B immediately, but if they have had their 40 quarters of employment, they've already paid all the taxes for Medicare Part A, the hospitalization section. So they may as well
Mhm.
go ahead and
At
apply
least
for
Part
A
A,
because
at
it's
least Part
extra
A.
coverage. And then they
Easier
can
to
wait.
B if you've already got A
Right.
down the line.
They can apply for B later in a couple of years when they're finally going to retire and get off their employer plan.
So does A cost at that point?
No.
No.
No,
Okay.
No.
I see.
yeah,
A is free.
A is free
But
because
A
they
is
already
only
worked.
free if you
Okay.
paid
Right.
into
Right.
it through
For the
work.
last
Now,
40
doesn't
quarters.
it
Right.
matter though if
Or
you're-
for a 40 quarters period, even if it wasn't just your recent.
Oh, if you've had 40
Like
quarters
if-
at any point.
Right, if you worked 10 or 20 years or whatever, and then were at home or something, doing whatever, and
Okay.
you're on your husband's or your wife's employer
Does-
plan.
Does self-employment count? Good, because you're paying.
As long
Yes.
As long as you
Yes.
pay your taxes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Exactly.
As long as the government gets their money,
Right,
you get it for
But
free.
Right.
doesn't it
Pound of
matter
flesh,
about
it's all
the
good.
20 employees? If you're.
Whether it's
the company
secondary
you
or
work
primary.
for is 20 employees and they're under
Again?
and they need to.
First day.
Yeah, let's.
right.
We'll get to
That's why we
that.
didn't go over any of that.
Yeah,
I know,
yeah. That's why I'm more worried about them having control in a
Yes.
conversation,
Right.
then
Control this dojo.
yes, that's what I'm doing here. That's exactly what I
It
did.
was
Mike,
just an
what's up?
So can we circle back to scared and aloof? So we're trying to drill down and figure out what's scaring them and why they put it off.
Correct.
So that would equate to the confusion because I don't understand it.
Right.
Okay, and that's our job to help sort that and figure out, okay, did they do the 40 quarters? Have they paid into it? This is free. And then you move on to the next. So you're talking about a linear process crossing off steps.
Correct.
Okay.
It's giving them something tangible.
There you go. Concept of tangible.
Because insurance is not tangible. None of it is.
Yeah.
I mean, you get a policy card, but you can't hug your insurance policy after it pays for your
It's air.
hospitalization. Yeah, you can't. Fugazi. That's what it is. It's
Yep.
air. So in this case here, going back to it, what I would do, I would get my sheet and I would say, look, this is what we're going to do here. You need to apply for Medicare, number one. Call them. They will let you know if you worked your credits. They will let you know if you're going to have to pay for Part A. They're going to let you know your Part B premium. They're going to let you know all of that. Now, the next step here would be health coverage. So I would put health coverage. Okay, this is the situation that you're in. All this time when he's trying to ask questions, you go from, okay, do you understand how to apply? Okay, you do? Perfect. Here's the next step. Now that you're applying, you are going into your open enrollment. So from there, that is your health coverage. But first, to kind of figure out what's going to best suit you, I need to ask you a few questions about it. Number one, do you have current coverage? Number two, do you have final expense plan? Do you have dental and vision? Do you have prescription coverage? Do you have a cancer heart attack policy? Go through all that. Okay, how's your health been the past 5 years? From there, go to Selector Questions, which is, okay, since you're in this period here, you have three options. You can keep your original Medicare, you can go to a Plan C, or you can go to a Med Sup. This is a simple 5-list questionnaire that will tell you exactly what you want. It's not going to tell me what I think you want. It's going to tell you what you want. Do you want to see any doctor? Bless you.
You scared it off.
I scared it for you. I caught that ahead of time. Do you want to go see any doctor you want?
Sneeze now.
Do you want doctors telling you, what you can and can't do? You go through everything and say, okay, perfect. So it sounds like after you apply for Medicare, what's going to work best for you? It seems like a Medicare supplement. So now on that piece of paper that you have where we wrote step 1 and step 2, underneath that, draw a line down the middle, and on the left, put Part A and put Part B. We're going to take the confusion out of your Medicare so you know what's going on. So you don't have to be scared and you know everything that's going to happen. Man, I planned this really well, didn't I? This is very theatrical here. I love it.
Yeah.
Well, and then
But-
the relationship building of all these conversations too takes a lot of that aloofness and scaredness out, because we're not only selling them, I'm gonna take this from you. We're not only selling them their healthcare, we're selling them ourselves. So they get us, right?
Amen. Preach. So at that point,
I had a good teacher.
and this is what we'll end here for Penny, what do we have left? There is nothing left for him to be control of. We can't adjust his money. We can see it might be a Plan G. It might have to be a high deductible plan. It might be a Plan N. It might even be an Advantage plan. Or if they're on Medicaid, it might be a D-SNP plan. We can't control that, but we can work that in and say, look, I know you're worried about budget. This is going to tell you what Medicare does, but at the end of it, you'll also see how you can effectively budget for it without knowing what your Social Security check is going to be. Because the people I work with tell me it's a lot easier to budget a monthly premium than a $0 premium where you pay the expenses because you don't know. And that also takes care of the scared and everything like that. This don't matter. T65. That don't matter.
Right.
At the very end of the day, this man is turning 65, and who's he going to call? Penny, say it. Penelope.
Right.
Picture.
Which, by the way, I did give him a list of things to do.
Exactly.
And then-
See, your osmosis there. Okay. Vicky Joe, you got to quit cutting in here. Vicky Joe.
Yeah.
All right. Christine, Your lady from yesterday. Give me some stats here. What were we looking at?
So Miss Tracy, I
Okay.
think she's about 61. She is a former client of mine that I had before here. She was on a Humana plan, just a regular
Okay.
Advantage plan on disability, which I didn't know why, but you found out when you talked to her. She lives in Temple, which is Jacob's stomping ground. So,
He was little.
so she had, I have been talking to her off and on for a few months because she
Mhm.
had bariatric surgery, and I had to help find her some psychiatrists because there's a list of things that you have to do before you are actually approved for bariatric surgery. I mean, they code it as medically necessary, I guess, but you have to go through. You had to have a psychiatrist. You had to have all these certain medications and things had to be done before she was approved for surgery. So yesterday, I just happened to be clearing out my voicemails on my cell phone, and she was in there. So I called her just to check on her because I'm in the process of checking on all my former clients. I've got about 20 more left to call. So I called her. She answers, and she's like, "Hey." So we started chatting, and everything's going fine with her Humana plan. She loves it, no problem. Doctors are all in network. One of her medications costs a little bit, but she needs more dental, she says. So told her, "Hey, I got this Cigna plan. You're covered for dental now, so you're not gonna have to. Like that waiting period is going to be waived because you're covered." So that was the intent of talking to her, was to get her on that Cigna dental plan.
Okay.
So in the conversation where Jacob got involved, we find out she's not only on LIS, she's on Medicaid, full benefits Medicaid. I didn't know because she didn't call and tell me when she got it. She didn't have it when I put her on the Humana plan the first time. Clients, sometimes they don't call and tell you. So it's like, okay, you got to follow up with these people. But I mean, I didn't know she was going to be on Medicaid. But long story short, we put her on a DSNP where she's going to be getting now $0 to go to the doctor, which she's thrilled about. And all of her doctors are in network.
Mhm.
Also, she bought a dental plan because she needs enough work to where that $5,000 Cigna plan benefits her. And she's thrilled. And she gets a food card
Mhm.
that is more than the cost of the dental plan.
Mhm.
Because she even said that. She was like,
I didn't even think about that.
yeah. So it's not a huge, it's still
It was like $65.
it's
but the dental's
$65 and the
40.
dental
Yeah.
plan is like 45 something or whatever
It's
that she's
basically like
getting.
she's getting $25.
That's
in
what I
dental.
said. You're getting, hey, whatever. But then she doesn't have to pay to go to the doctor because I think that plan, I forget the specialist. I think it was $5 to go to the doctor and I think $35 to go to a specialist. So now she's not going to have to pay.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
So maybe we're going to get into this, but what's the thinking of putting her on a separate dental plan when she's got $5,000 in her Advantage plan?
She didn't have an
No,
Advantage
it's
plan.
not.
The
No,
Advantage
she
plan only
had,
covered preventative. She needed major coverage.
it was a $2,000 Humana plan, which didn't, like you said, was
But
not.
I mean, you moved her to a DSNP that has a $5,000.
No,
No,
it doesn't.
we
No,
sold her
No,
a
no, no.
Cigna
I
plan
sold her the
Oh.
Cigna.
Separate.
along
Yeah.
with. Okay.
Okay.
Because it's United Healthcare.
I got it now.
They have dental, but you have to get everything
It's preventative.
pre-authorized
It's only-
and
it's
It's
yada,
only
yada,
preventative.
yada.
There's not a dollar amount. It's just preventative, $0 copay.
Okay.
So that was it. Now, the
Okay.
one thing that Christine is leaving out here
What?
is I put this right here. Christine came to my desk and she was like, "Hey, can you look at this with me for a client?" I was like, "Okay, cool." She had 3 Advantage plans pulled up, right? She had the ladies' doctors. We were looking at everything here. That's when I came up to
This
you
is
guys.
before I knew she was on Medicaid.
And it was, yes, that's what I'm saying. This is all before we knew she was on Medicaid,
Mhm.
but this is when I asked you guys on the floor, Would you rather have a $2,900 out of pocket
Mhm.
and pay 20% when you go to the doctor, or have a $7,000 and you don't have percentages, you have copays? You know, you're going to hit the 29 a whole lot quicker. So we went through that discussion, was about
Mhm.
15 minutes. Got her on the phone, talked with her
Yeah,
for a
because
little
then
bit.
I was like, hey, you know what? I'm just going to call her back and we're going to chat. And I wasn't expecting to be on the phone and be here till 6:30, but
Jacob Credit Special right there.
hey.
So, and if you notice, I took a certain approach with that lady.
Mhm.
When we first started talking, I didn't talk about Medicare. I talked about you, and I
Mhm.
talked about me, and I talked about her. And her middle name was Michelle. And I said, ooh, you're about
Hey,
it was Michelle.
yeah,
I was like, you're
but
about 9 days
still.
too late, sweetie.
Yeah.
Sorry.
She's a sweet lady. She's a
And
sweet
counting,
lady.
yeah, that's right. But it was that, and then we talked about some temple stuff. Like there was this hamburger restaurant by where I used to
Mhm.
grow up called Rylanders. That's like this really dumpy place where you see like rats running in the back, but it's one of the best hamburgers you'll ever eat in Temple. And like her doctor's offices, I like went to church with some of her doctors back in Temple. And so like immediately from the get-go, I'm like, I just want to connect with this lady. You know, I'm not here to be like, because she's like, hey, I have Jacob here. I want him to take a look at everything. And I'm more talking to her. I'm not talking about the plan or the Medicare.
Well, and
or anything like that.
she knew, and I told her before that you were from Temple,
Uh-huh.
and this is kind of a unique situation. She had told me before, so many people call me, and I don't talk to anybody, but you're the only person I trust about any of this stuff. And I'm
Mhm.
like, thank goodness. I mean, they're not all like that.
No, they're not all like
So
that.
that's
But
very lucky to have somebody. Yeah.
one thing that I see a lot of new agents do, and even experienced agents, is when they don't have all their information, they think they have everything. They go to this stage right here in the study. Okay. So even though it was only 5-10 minutes
Mhm.
that we had that discussion, everything that we talked about, and even on the floor that we talked about, none of that applied to what
Mm-mm.
happened on the phone, because you never know until you actually talk to them.
And you know the reason why she's loyal to me, which I didn't even realize that, you know, she said this, is because when she texted me or called me because she needed psychiatrists, I sent her 6 different ones to call that were in her network. And I was like, if one of these doesn't work, call me back. I'll look for another one. She was looking for cheaper medications, and I looked, and so she needed something, and I took care of it. So it's kind of another topic, but that's taking care of your current clients. And she wasn't a client for here. She was one of my former ones, but I still took care of her. But now she's a
Client
client
for life.
here.
And if you guys notice too, if I have to call, like I know the only phone call I've been able to make today was to Cigna for a billing issue for a client that's not even mine, but I kind of groom them whenever they call with questions or they get a bill or they get a rate increase or whatever. At the end of the call, you'll always hear me say, you're doing exactly what you should be doing.
Mhm.
Keep doing it because that's in your best interest. If you have a question about your benefits, if you have a question about a bill, about a rate increase, can I go to this doctor? How much does this medicine cost? I don't care. I'll go against Brad Jenkins saying here, I'll make time for you if you call
Mhm.
me, because that only adds to that lady's satisfaction.
Well,
now
and-
she's
and-
really not going anywhere.
And I've told when I do call that clients that I've had before, my thing is like, hey, look, I'm working for a company now, but I'm still your agent. And this benefits you because, and I had told Tracy this before, because I had been on the phone with her, not sitting at my desk, but on my cell phone for like 30 minutes before I was ever even in here. It's like, I have people here to ask. I have access to a lot more companies. I have access to a lot more information, and this is benefiting you. So this is great. She was like, oh, okay. So that's what I tell my old clients. So
It's good. So with this one here with control, this
Anyway.
was just more of wasn't control per se, but I just wanted to bring it up here.
but the information wasn't there. I didn't know she was on Medicaid
Correct.
because she didn't tell me, and I didn't even know to ask because she wasn't on it before.
Correct. So that's why this is
Jacob's the one that figured it out.
this is
What did you
good.
ask? That's what I was wondering. What did you
Yeah.
I'll bring it. Let me.
Mhm.
Geez, don't rush the. I'm like the.
You gotta be in control.
Here's a. I am.
Yeah,
Here's a
he's
shout to
losing
Stephen
control.
Grip here. Okay, this is just like the 76ers. All right, trust the process. We're getting there. Trust the process. So, what I wanted to start with, ladies and Mike, is this right here. This is really good if you're trying to research different things in the off time. So, like if you're off work, if you want to know how a certain policy works, what the benefits are, this is really beneficial. But when I mean studying here, I mean taking 15 to 20 minutes before you even call the client, and you already know where you're going to put them without even talking to them. You know, this is such a time waste because you really don't know what's going to happen when you go in.
Mhm.
You know, I can have somebody here where I got some rate increases from Mutual of Omaha in Michigan today, and they must have switched divisions because it's like $60. It's going up. You know, I can go ahead and pull an Aetna app and put all it in and call them, and all I have to do is ask them the health questions. You know, I spent 20 minutes doing it. It's all ready to go. I've already got the Medicare card number. Perfect. Call them. Hey, how's it going? Oh, I had a heart attack last week.
Oh,
Well, all that 20 minutes
yep.
is a waste because you don't know. If you have those preconceived notions that, oh, I know how healthy this person is. I know what's going on. I can't tell you how many times. And again, it goes back to I'm a little stitious. I'm not superstitious. We used to have a lady here that was in a similar role. What would happen though is when she would get me on the line to ask health questions, she would immediately go start the application. And guess what happened every time she did that? They had to answer yes to a question.
They had to what?
They had to answer yes to a question,
okay.
which cancels out the application, meaning we can't do it. Now, is it her fault? No. Is it a little stitious? Yeah, because it didn't happen that often, but once she went ahead and was like, oh, this lady's going to qualify just fine. She's on one medication. You know, no. Yeah, I was diagnosed with that. Yes. Okay, well, then we can't do anything right now. You have to stay put. But that's what happens is when you get those preconceived ideas, those preconceived thoughts of this is where I'm going to place you, you just don't know until you talk about the person. That's something you can control. That's why if you're ever spending 15 or 20 minutes researching before a call, you know, if you want to do it after 5 or before 8, that's completely fine. But what you have to think about is if I take this 15, 20 minutes studying here and I call them and the plan goes to crap and it doesn't work out, I'm not going to get those 15 or 20 minutes back. You know, we talk about AEP, that's a valuable time to talk to the person. Yeah, you want to do some research ahead of time, you know, send out email, you know, can I get updated prescriptions, everything like that. But come October 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th, right there, all before that, that's when all your prep is done. You know, you're not spending 30 minutes looking at companies, looking at underwriting without them on the line because you don't know. You could potentially just be wasting your time where that 30 minutes could have taken 2 minutes on a phone call saying they had a stroke yesterday, you know, T's and P's, thoughts and prayers for you. But then that other 28 minutes that you had, that can go to the next sale or the next person that you can help. So that's why studying prior is always kind of iffy for me.
And if you're trying to make it smoother by filling out the app ahead of time,
Mhm.
you're not, it's right, it's just a time waster because if you say, hey, client, I can save you $40 a month, they'll be like, oh, honey, take your time with that application, you know, take your time,
Right.
log in, do it, you know, I'm here. They're never going to say, you're never going to lose a sale over saying, oh, give me just a minute to log in and do the app. It
And I
won't
hadn't
happen.
taken much time. I had literally looked at it for just a couple minutes. I
Mhm.
kind of knew like the 20%, like you were saying, and then you kind of like were asking everybody else. That's why I was like, oh, let me call her and get her back on the phone.
Mhm.
I hadn't been sitting there for like 20 minutes.
No,
looking at it.
I know. I'm using you as an example, not like that.
I'm
Yes.
just saying, I kind of, because I could hear you saying, don't spend too much time on that. Don't spend
Mhm.
too much time
'Cause
on
you don't know
research,
what's going to happen.
because she went into a plan that I had no idea she was ever going to be even
Mhm.
to qualify for.
So how that happened here, what this tells me. So the things that we can control in here. Okay, so we know she's 61, right? We know that she needs more dental. Okay, looking at this here, you know, Humana PPO, we're thinking, okay, we can't do anything. We have a month.
And that's
You know,
a great plan for,
it was a great plan because
I mean, it is. It's a great plan if you're not on
when it came
Medicaid.
up in conversation, I was asking her because initially it brought up the $2,900 out of pocket.
Mhm.
And then she was like, "Oh no, sweetie, I've only paid like after the surgery and everything." She's like, "I've only paid $35 like a few times this year." I go, "What?"
Yeah. So
And
we didn't-
immediately I go, "How long have you been on disability?" She's like, "Been on it for a few years." And I was like, "Okay, don't take this wrong here. Do you make under $1,500 a month?" And she goes, "Oh yeah." I go grab your Humana card. She's like, "Okay, I also have this other card here that's like Star Plus
yeah,
of
right?
Texas." I was like, "What's that say on it?" And then it had like the number, and then you put it into Google, Texas Medicaid, under 65.
Yeah, then I plugged her into Jarvis, and sure as day, and it showed which plans she qualified for that were
Mhm.
there, and we're like, okay.
That's why when you see something like this, people that are on disability that are under 65, most commonly it is going to occur with Medicaid. Just because they're not able to work, they're collecting disability. So that's immediately why I was like, she's 61, she sounds fantastic.
And she's a joy.
She's love
Yeah.
her to death. That's second Michelle there. But immediately I go, I wonder if she's on Medicaid, because it's going to help her a lot more if she is on Medicaid, and I just bring it up and ask. Now, it didn't need to be 15 minutes of research into it, which it took us to find out, but it's a simple question. I was like, hey, by chance, are you on Medicaid? Because if you're only paying $35 every couple times and you just had bariatric surgery and a hip replacement.
I don't even think she realized that she was on
No,
Medicaid.
she
That's what I
didn't.
was gonna ask, because a lot of times you go into your doctor and they'll say, has anything changed since the last time you were in?
Mhm.
And sometimes I'm like, well, heck if I know. But I wondered if you had asked that question, if she'd even been able to answer it.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, until, Jake, this is all Jacob's the one who figured it out, because I didn't know she was on Medicaid. Like I said, I don't even think she knew she was on Medicaid until that Texas card thing came up.
Mhm.
And yeah, so it's hard to get information out. You just,
Because a lot of them just don't know.
they just don't know.
And
Surprising how many people have.
for this one, for control, the control in this one, it wasn't so much kind of the factors behind it, but it was more of the close here,
Mhm.
because we already had the relationship with her.
Yep.
She trusted you fully. She trusted me. Was able to find out, do the research, find out she's on Medicaid. We got her into a United Healthcare plan that was $0 everything because she's full benefits, and it was perfect. Doctors were in network. Everything was good. We went over all the reservations that she had, basically taking out things that we can't control. We addressed it from the get-go and said, okay, what I have to do is, I got to read you this disclosure here, but as well too, we're also going to take care of the dental plan. Where, can you guys guess how many plans I offered her?
2.
One.
Oh,
One.
Guess which one it was? Cigna,
The Cigna
5,000.
5,000.
You don't have any other option. Went over it and say, look, since you're replacing coverage, they're going to waive it.
Mhm.
You can go get your teeth done. Okay, it's $5,000 to deal with. It's $40. And her concern with it was, she goes, I can't pay that right now. That's completely fine. Take control back here.
She wants the bill to come out on the 3rd when her Social Security check comes in. Say we made it direct bill 3 months, and when that bill comes in, then I will get her on the phone. We'll call Cigna, and we will change it to monthly direct bill starting on the 3rd.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So again, it was something that a lot of people go, well, I don't have the money to pay it. And they go, just breathe. There's always other options you can do to regain that control of that, because it went from, oh, I can't afford that right now, sweetie. I don't want to sign up to. Don't worry about it. I'll put you in my calendar. We'll call Cigna on the 3rd. It'll already be active. You'll already have your cards. We just have to give them.
But
the
she's
check.
still kind of making money because her food card thing is
Mhm.
more
That's
than the
right.
dental
And
plan
that's
is
another
going to
thing
be.
with these things, don't realize that
Mhm.
less out of your pocket for groceries, so that makes room in the budget for this.
And what else?
And for, I don't know.
Thank you, Penny Sailor.
So I'm
Circle gets a square.
So
Thank you.
I'm calling her after this meeting
That's right.
because she has a final expense policy right now. She's not sure if it's what she should be in. She hurried up and bought it right before her surgery, her bariatric surgery, just in case or whatever, but she's not sure. So it was 6:30 last night, and she was like, she was tired. So I was like, I'll call you back tomorrow.
But the beauty thing about it, to wrap up Christine's and moves on to Kim
Yeah.
here, it was literally read the disclosure. Okay, go get your Medicare card. Go
Mhm.
get your Humana card because you need your policy number for the Cigna application. We'll start the dental on 10/1. Your DSNP plan will begin on 10/1.
Mhm.
Read everything. Say, okay, go get your cards. Let me get Christine here. Ask Christine, hey, you got everything? She goes, yep, I got it. Say, all right, ladies, y'all have a great night.
And I-
Y'all
yep,
take care.
got
You
it.
go, okay, bye. Off the phone, into the applications. You control the close. You're not asking for the close. You're saying, no, this is what we're going to do. You ain't got an option, but this is the best option for you here. We're going to do this. So now a little bit more complicated here. Kim,
I was gonna say it's easy when it's really nice and you already have a relationship.
Yeah.
that one was Kim. All right. What was the, give me the key characteristics for what, because this was a doozy here.
So first of all, he went onto our website.
Okay.
And both him and his girlfriend are under 65. Social Security disability. He makes a lot of money. She doesn't make anything.
I thought he was turning 65 and she was underage.
That's what I thought
That's what
too.
I think he
but
was 64 turning 65
he
and she
was,
was, we'll just put that.
something told
Okay.
me that he was only, okay, yeah, it doesn't matter right there. But so anyhow, but he went to our website. He had been researching everything for months. He's doing his due diligence and he already knew a lot, but he did have me all over the place with actuaries and numbers and what ifs, and just, he was all over the place still. So I was like, get on the phone. I've got a supplement. I need your help.
You know everything about everything already.
Well, no,
knows?
he did. He didn't really come across like that. He knew he still had some questions. He knew he still didn't know everything, but he loved our website. It was the easiest to read, and so that's why that's why I called him.
Okay. So I remember a little bit differently here. If I recall, this lady here, that was like his ex-wife.
No, that's his girlfriend.
His girlfriend? Okay.
Mhm.
For some reason, I thought it was just.
Mhm.
Okay.
They
so,
don't have the same name or anything, but yeah, but she is 55. She's going to be
Okay.
on whatever we do for her for 10 years.
And she got her disability. She was starting Medicare November 1st. Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So November 1st. I was like, I was on the call too. I remember all this.
Well, we were on the phone for a good
Yeah.
20 minutes first. So, but yeah, I think disability on the
Okay,
first.
and
Yeah.
so he wanted to talk about supplement. Now, as I
Yes.
recall too, there was this word thrown in.
Mm-hmm.
She was also going to be they applied for Medicaid.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this was your typical guy that he needed a Xanax to talk. Because he would cut you off. He was all over the place. It was the same thing over and over again. So from here, what we can control here, okay? This is who we're talking to, okay? We know we're not talking to this person who is 55 and is starting November 1st. That should already be a red flag for you guys. Not a red flag, but you're like, okay, here. Not that something's weird, but just knowing, okay, this is not going to be a closed type situation unless I can get the person on the phone. This is going to be he's going to try to either make the decision himself and just tell her, hey, this is what you get, or he's going to relay the information to her. And anytime, if you guys notice, it's the third paragraph, it asks, is there anybody that helps you with this? Just because if you play the telephone game and try to pass down the information, it's all going to become construed. It's not going to be the same thing that you told the person that I tell you that you tell her, she tells Adrian. It's all going to be different here. So immediately, we can't control that we are talking to the person that is going to be on Medicare. We are controlling that we're talking to the person that does help. Okay. That should skew your conversation right there. Because number one, a decision is not going to be made. This is an exploratory call.
Right.
So this is when you really need to beef up the relationship status of it, because it doesn't matter at the end of it. Your outcome's still going to be the same thing. Unless you can sell him, legally you cannot sell her because she's not there. She's not on the phone. But you can make him fall in love with you.
Mhm.
You can make him, consider girlfriend number 2.
I
And
think
get
by
that
the end
sale.
he was.
But
I
he
was
was
gonna make a
he
comment
did
when he
he,
said
he
it, I
loved
don't
you.
think I
He
should.
loved you. But you have to think about that in your head from the get-go. Okay, I can't sell this right now, but I can set myself up. At the same time, though, it's just like you're playing poker. You don't want to throw too many cards out. You don't want to throw a close out. You don't really want to throw numbers out at all. Now, it did help because he was on the website, so he could see the numbers for himself, which was kind of, okay, we lost that card to play.
Mhm.
But at the end of the day, you can't sell it anyway. So we don't even need to be talking about price. Now, the other things that we can control, we know November 1st, that's when her Part B was starting, 11-1. Okay. This guy knew a lot. Can't do that. You started talking about supplement. We ain't going to worry about that. You don't know what you need yet.
Mhm.
You think you do. You think you did all your right research, but you don't actually know yet. You haven't been through it. So in this case here, this is where it got really confusing because I assumed he was going to pay for her, correct? I think that's how it was going to be.
Yeah.
So he was going to pay for her. He doesn't have power of attorney. Doesn't have anything like that. Okay. She applied for Medicaid and got approved.
Well, not yet. I'm sorry, not yet.
I thought they got a letter that said her premium's going to be 0.
He was confused about he got a letter. He's like, I don't understand this, but it looks like they're going to pay for her Part B premium. But then the more we talked, the more it sounded like they're really still waiting on an approval.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what Medicaid might have thrown out, like, oh, hey, you might get this. I really don't know. That's kind of what I was under the
So
impression.
that is when he went into, well, even if we get the Medicaid, I want to get her a supplement
Mhm.
because
Yeah.
it's so much better. And I immediately just went, what the hell is wrong with you?
I kept telling him you can't get a supplement
You can't
if
get
you
supplements.
are on
He was
Medicaid.
going to decline the Medicaid
Yeah.
and then pay for her. And like, buddy, you don't understand. First off, I think they were in California, or no, it was somewhere where it was like 200 something. It was like $200 for a plan G. Okay, because you're 55. They were in Illinois. That's what it was.
Oh yeah, Illinois.
Oh, gosh.
So it was like $200 for somebody who's 55. Okay, you're gonna have this plan for 10 years.
Mhm.
You're on disability for a reason. Probably not gonna underwrite you ever. Okay, so you're gonna have this for 10 years. You can always go to an Advantage plan, but if you want the real coverage, you're gonna have to pay for it for 10 years. It's a big commitment that you're doing. He was going to cancel the Medicaid if she got approved for it, and then pay for her Medicare, and pay for her supplement, and pay for her drug plan. All of this here. In the meantime, I think she was like $1,200 or something. It was like between 12 and 13 is what her monthly income
And
was.
one point to make is that he was paying just for his premium with ACA $600 a month, and then $7,500 an annual deductible. So it didn't matter if that premium was $200 or $300 for the both of them. That was a deal. So that was his mindset as far
Is
as.
there an Advantage plan or a D-SNP available where she lives in
No, there
Illinois?
was no D-SNP available.
But is there an Advantage plan though?
Yeah,
where
there was
she
some
lives?
Advantage plans, but no dual plans.
So the issue came about here when controlling the conversation
Mhm.
because he tried to assume this here.
Mhm.
There's 7 different levels to Medicaid
Mhm.
that you could possibly, with pluses, minuses,
Yeah.
equal signs, infinity signs, whatever it is. Okay. You have too many options there.
XYZ.
We don't know what this is going to be.
Yeah.
Right. If you're planning on this being full coverage with Medicaid and it turns out they just pay for your premium or they help you with your drugs a little bit, that's a whole different story
Mhm.
than saying, okay, we're going to have Medicaid cover everything. So this guy here, he thought that he knew a lot. He knew that he wanted supplemental coverage. But at the end of the day, this should have been step 2 in the process.
Mhm.
She already did step 1. She's been on disability. She's starting Medicare November 1st. Step 1 is done. Step number 2 is they applied for Medicaid. Okay. You can't just assume, okay, this is what level it's going to be. Let's just submit the thing.
Mhm.
Forget it.
Mhm.
Because there's too many variables to it. So for him, really, with him being so scatterbrained, we just kept saying the same thing over and over again,
Mhm.
is saying, wait till you get this letter. Once you get this letter, make your decision, because it could come back and say you get full benefits, and at that point you have full benefits Medicaid. Why do you need this?
Right.
You
Why
don't.
would
It's a
you
waste
take
of
that?
money.
Can you
Yeah.
even buy one if you're on full Medicaid?
No.
No,
I don't think so.
on any level,
No.
right? Any level of
so
Medicaid.
there's a caveat to it. If you're
Oh,
on a
of
supplement
course.
and then you get Medicaid,
Oh, and then.
there's a chance that the state will pay for it. But you can't be on Medicaid and then apply for a
And
supplement.
you can't be on Medicaid and then purchase a supplement.
Correct.
So-
You can be on a supplement and,
And
then,
then-
get
and
Medicaid,
then
but you
possibly
can't
keep
be on
it.
Medicaid and then
Okay.
get a supplement.
And then there's some things where you can pause your supplement
Correct. Yes.
um,
It's a big
for a
rabbit
couple of
hole.
years. if
But
you
for
need to.
her case here, she would have Medicaid first and then try to get a supplement. So she can't do that.
Yeah.
But he was adamant about, well, I want to cancel it. I want to do this.
I
we're
just won't
gonna-
get it.
Yeah. He's like, I just won't do it. And like, first off, it's going to be a whole lot harder to cancel than you think. It's not just like Netflix. You can't just change your card or click delete for your account. You're going to
That's
talk.
not even that easy.
You're going to have to talk to some government official. Oh, believe me, with my identity being stolen, I've been through all that here, canceling stuff. So for him, he was dead set on this. But we had to keep telling him, you're putting the cart before the horse, is what you're doing. You really are. We're still 2.5 months out, or 2 months out, really, before this. You don't need to make a decision today.
Mhm.
You don't. And he's coming up on his too. And that's what we kept telling him is you're trying to rush everything when you don't have to. And he was real worried. He's like, well, what's the latest that I can submit it? And Kim kind of made him shut up a little bit. He's like, well, October 31st. He's like, what? He's like, yeah. As long as you submitted October 31st for 11/1, you're going to have coverage. You might not have a card for a week or two, but it's going to be active come that next day because that's on the application date. You're in open enrollment. He's like, I didn't know that. He was pressing because he thought there was so much information, so much going on that he didn't have time to do the research, sit down, go over everything. He was just freaking out. So that's what we had to continue doing, which has resulted in a very nice heart appointment for October for him and her
Right.
to get them both taken care of because Kim was able to go, look,
Calm down.
you are freaking out.
Yeah.
Calm down.
Said
You don't
are
need to.
way ahead of the game. Most
Mhm.
people aren't half as knowledgeable as you are at this point. So just know that you're doing everything right, and I'm here to help you with everything as we walk through it. So just relax, go have a martini, and chill out.
And it was really funny because we had a little meeting this morning with Jacob's ladies, and we went over something.
Is
Okay,
that what we are now?
and yeah, that's what you always been.
I was like, now, I've always been that.
You've always been that.
Oh, yeah.
But we went over something that actually sticks a lot, where a lot of people get afraid to. There are certain times where you don't have to say it like this, but there are certain times where you need to put your foot down and just go, shut up. I know more than you. You think you know it. You don't really know it. You know of it. This is why there are people like us. This is why I tell people you want to sell yourself first, then talk about Medicare, talk about the product. Me and Kim talked about it this morning. She went out and made a phone call immediately right after, 25-minute conversation with Joe. Didn't talk about Medicare until like 10, 15 minutes in. And it switched. He loved talking to Kim. Now, he loved talking to Kim Zimmerman, not Medicare guru Kim Zimmerman, but he was interacting with her, not with the product, not with Medicare. But there comes a certain time to where you have to realize that, okay, look, I do know more than you, just not in a cocky way, but you got to listen to me because you're not helping yourself out at all. You're making yourself more confused, and you're putting yourself in a bad situation to start. And that's why I think I made you almost crack up one of your first sales here when we're on the phone with that lady from Michigan. And I just tell her, I'll call her Debbie. And I was like, Debbie, shut up. Stop using your brain. Because she kept asking question after question after question. And I'm like, look, it doesn't matter. You're on Medicaid, full benefits, not on a D-SNP plan. There is a PPO with all your doctors in network that is $0. So you currently have to pay versus You don't have to pay because you're on Medicaid. There. And then she goes, yeah, I guess I was making it a little more difficult. Like, yeah, you were. So before we wrap up here, any questions, anybody?
I was gonna say, I have this other client.
Oh, Lord.
He sent me, Mr.
You, whatever. Anyway, he sends me this text. He says, I don't know why I can't keep my old plan. He's like, I'm probably going to go back to wherever he lived. He's like, I'm tired of playing this game. I'm going to take my ball and go home. So I called him and I was like, dude, I've got you. Just chill. I'm taking care of it. I'm making sure that the plan I'm putting you in is going to be approved. Chill out. Same thing. Like they think, like, and guess what? That plan got approved and he's all taken care of. But he's like, I'm tired of waiting on it. Well, just chill. That's why you have somebody to take care of you.
I have a
Right?
a husband experience here that I can share about that happened
Uh-oh.
recently. So
Your
This
husband
was-
is like, we can
Enough.
this was,
Sorry.
but we had an issue with our faucet.
9 days, 0 accidents.
9 days. That's right.
Oh.
That's right.
We need a
That's right. We get the whiteboard in the house.
We need a whiteboard.
But so we had an issue with our kitchen sink, and it was a sink that I installed. And whoever designed our kitchen plumbing did not make it for a big gentleman. Like if I was 90 pounds, I could have done it perfectly. The most I could turn the wrench to tighten it was like that. So it took me like an hour to do it. And then one of the metal like thin pipes, it wouldn't go through the nut to hold everything together. But it was to the old one. So I was like, all right, I'm going to risk it. And I just clipped it. I just cut it. I didn't know what it was to, but I'm like, hey, maybe we'll see here, see if it works or not. But so that was like maybe like 6 months ago or so. So we put it in. Well, with everybody over at the house and all the crazy stuff going on, we noticed our water pressure's going down. And so we're like, okay, we've had issues with Leander water before, now Leander, we're not even allowed to outdoor water. They have some issues. So we're like, okay. So I threw it up on Facebook back when I still had Facebook, but they kicked me off. And I was like, has anybody had water pressure? And they were like, no. And so we're like, okay. So we're like, all right, what we can do, we can call the plumbers, which we have plumbers in Granger that come out, but they charge a flat hourly fee. And they were out last time and they helped us with our, one of our spigots on the outside. And he was there for like 10 minutes. And he's like, I'm not going to charge you guys. And he's like, perfect. Well, they changed it like a week after. They didn't charge us. So we're like, all right, flat rate's like $400. So we're like, okay, so we're going to pay like $400 for this guy to come out just to look at the kitchen sink. I was like, just give me 2 days and I'll look at it. Okay. Just give me 2 days. She's like, okay, freaking out. And then it was like the next day and she was like, okay, I already called them and I scheduled the appointment. I go cancel it. I was like, I got it. It's on my list. I'm going to get around to it. There's more important stuff I got to do, but I'm going to get around to it. We still have water in the sink. It still works. It's just not a lot of pressure. So I did it the next day. I went to my trusty friend Google, typed in the Moen faucet losing pressure. It was the screen in the nozzle.
Oh.
Some of like the gasket rubbed off and stuck on it. Gunked it up. So I took the screen off, washed it, put it back in, screwed it back in. Perfect pressure. Went back to normal.
Saved
your
your
But that's what we have to do here too.
We're their Google.
We're people, Google, exactly. We are their resource. We're there to help them. You don't have to make these really quick decisions and spend money that you don't. Did you know some agents charge by the hour? Did you guys know that?
You could do that.
When they're talking to people?
Now they're not selling, but they're advising them. That would be like, hey, if I was you, I would go with this company. So they're doing what we do. They're just not making any commissions for a sale, but you're making commission as a helping somebody make a decision. Yep. And you also keep them on retainer for the year. So if you have questions, so you pay a monthly fee and then you pay.
Business.
Yeah, so you make them sign up for themselves.
You can do both.
And then you
Charge.
Yeah.
I don't think you can. That's sketch.
Yeah. You can't sell them and charge them like
Yeah.
that. But no, people do that too. But it just goes back to, just be a resource for these people, but control what you can control.
Mhm.
And if you never gained control, it's going to be a whole lot harder than having control from the start. So I think today was really informative. I love doing stuff like this.
No, it was great.
That's
Yeah,
more of
thank
just
you.
a back and forth conversation, but we can use some examples and use a whiteboard. So thank you guys for joining. Thank you to our two new folks here. Glad you were here.
Yeah.
Glad that we could kind of go through this experience with you. Everybody watching, y'all have a great rest of the day. We'll be back tomorrow with something just as thrilling and exciting. But for now, y'all go sell something.